I have officially seen it all. Kahleah Copper's wig falls off in the middle of the game. They call a timeout. She runs to the locker room, putting her, you really can't make this stuff up. And Caitlin Clark, though she's not playing in Chicago, she still takes over Chicago. She is the main attraction, the biggest draw in all of the WNBA.
I've seen a lot of wild things happen in sports, but what went down at this WNBA game might be the most chaotic mix of basketball, reality TV, and pure theater I've ever witnessed. You think you've seen fights, buzzer beaters, even full-on courtside drama? Nah. You haven't truly lived until you've seen an entire game grind to a halt, because somebody's wig decided to make a break for it. And before anybody says I'm exaggerating, I'm not. I was there, I saw it, and honestly, I still can't believe it wasn't part of some halftime comedy skit. This was dead serious. 1 minute, Kahleah Copper is sprinting down the court, locked in on the play. The next, the ball is flying one way, her defenders are scrambling, and her wig just checks out. It's gone. Now, I've seen jerseys get ripped, shoes fly off, even the occasional elbow to the face moment that makes you wince, but a wig just yeeting itself into the middle of a professional game, that's a new one for me. And I'm telling you, it was like time froze. The crowd gasped like someone had just hit a game-winning shot. Players stopped moving. Even the refs looked like they didn't know whether to call a foul, a turnover, or a hair violation. Kahleah herself. For a split second, she froze too. You could see that flicker in her eyes, that split moment where she had to decide, keep playing like nothing happened, or retrieve her runaway wig. And listen, she's an elite athlete. Her reflexes are insane. But in that instant, the wig took priority.
Reasons I can't take this league seriously. This is one of the many reasons that I refer to the WNBA as pretend basketball. This league is literally the world of make-believe. It's a league of myths and fantasies, mythical racism, fake victims. The media describes WNBA players as elite athletes, which is one of the greatest myths ever told. There are players in the WNBA pretending to be...
She stopped chasing the play and went after it like it was the last rebound of the finals. And here's where it gets wild. While she's grabbing it, some of her teammates are trying to form a little human wall around her, like no cameras, as if they were bodyguards at a red carpet event. But come on, this is a WNBA game. Cameras are everywhere. You can't hide a moment like that. Meanwhile, the crowd is split. Half are dead silent out of respect, like, oh no, that's embarrassing, let's just look away. The other half? They're stifling laughs, covering their mouths, texting their friends like, yo, turn on the game right now. And I can't even lie, I was part of that second group. And this is where the second act of the drama kicks in. Because somewhere in that sea of fans, there's a guy, just a regular dude, courtside seat, minding his business, who sees this unfold and cracks one quick joke. Just one. Something along the lines of, she got crossed and uncrowned. Now, was it clever? Absolutely. Was it mean? Maybe a little, but in the grand scheme of trash talk at sporting events, that's light work. That's PG rated. That's the kind of jab players have been hearing for decades. But oh no, security did not see it that way. Before the laughter in the crowd even dies down, 2 security guys are on him like he just tried to rush the court. They escort him out. I mean, full-on ejection, no discussion, no warning. Just gone. Over one wig joke. At first, I thought they were escorting him to get an autograph or something. Nope. Dude was outside in the parking lot before he even processed what happened. And you could feel it in the arena. The mood shifted. People weren't just laughing anymore. Now they were like, wait, so you can elbow Caitlin Clark in the face and maybe get a foul, but you make one wig joke and you're banned from the building? The priorities here were interesting, to say the least. Now don't get me wrong, I get protecting the players. I get not letting things get cruel or out of hand. But this was wildly out of proportion. And it made it even more awkward because everyone started whispering about it instead of enjoying the game. Suddenly, this wasn't just a basketball night. This was a story people were going to be telling for years. And you know what happens next.
These people just can't get it right. The WNBA just cannot get it right. Y'all got to make a decision, bro. Do y'all want fans or not? Do y'all want fans or not? This is ridiculous. Listen, I wasn't even gonna touch on this. I left it alone. Until I saw a fan was thrown out of the game for laughing. This is ridiculous. The WNBA, y'all cannot be so sensitive about every little.
Social media got involved. Clips of the moment, the wig flying, Kalia chasing it down, the fan getting escorted out, they were online before the next timeout was even over. And once it hit Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, forget it. The memes were immediate. Somebody slowed the footage down like it was a sports science segment, complete with arrow graphics showing the wig's trajectory. Somebody else edited the scene from Space Jam where Bugs Bunny picks up Michael Jordan's gear and swapped in the wig. And of course, the AI crowd went crazy, making fake post-game interviews where the wig speaks about why it left. But here's the part that made me shake my head. The WNBA, instead of laughing it off and letting it be a viral moment, acted like it didn't happen. No funny post. No, well, that's one way to lose your head in the game tweet. Nothing. Which is wild, because the league says it wants more attention, more eyeballs, more social buzz, and this was a golden opportunity. You couldn't script a more perfect people are talking moment. Instead, it got treated like a scandal. And that brings me to the heart of this story, because this isn't just about a wig. It's about the WNBA's weird relationship with its own drama. They'll let hard fouls go unpunished, they'll tolerate rivalries getting nasty, but the moment something funny happens that could bring in casual fans, they shut it down. And if you think I'm exaggerating, wait until I tell you what happened after the game. So the game ends. And you'd think after such a bizarre moment, everyone would just laugh, move on, maybe throw out a couple of lighthearted post-game interviews. Nope. This thing somehow turned into a bigger deal than the game itself. I'm walking out of the arena and you can hear the chatter from every corner. People aren't talking about the score. They're not talking about the plays.
You really can't make this stuff up. You really can't make this stuff up. They stop playing. Alyssa Thomas calls a timeout. The wig's on the floor. Ka Copper tries to hide behind DeWanna Bonner. DeWanna Bonner not doing her any favors. DeWanna Bonner not doing any favor. That's got to be some type of girl code, right? There's got to be some type of code. If my wig falls off, you all need to huddle around me and make sure this moment doesn't look any more embarrassing.
They're talking about the wig. Did you see her face? Bro, that thing flew like it had a mind of its own. They really kicked a guy out for a joke. It was the only conversation. And the crazy thing? The players knew it too. Here's where it gets awkward. After the game, during the media sessions, nobody wanted to bring it up. The reporters, who usually live for juicy stuff like this, were asking the most generic, beige questions imaginable. How did you feel about the team's ball movement? What adjustments will you make for the next game? Like, come on. We just watched a hairpiece become the unofficial MVP of the night and you're asking about pick-and-roll defense? But you could see it in their eyes. They wanted to ask. Everyone in that room was holding back a grin. And Kalia? She sat there, completely stone-faced, answering everything in the calmest, most professional tone you could imagine. Almost like she'd been coached to pretend it never happened. Now, I get it. If it were me, maybe I wouldn't want my hair mishap to be the headline either. But here's the thing. Once the footage is out there, trying to bury it just makes it bigger. And sure enough, by the time the post-game interviews wrapped up, the internet had already made sure this was trending in 3 different countries. But this is where the real drama starts brewing. Because while most of us were laughing, a small but very loud corner of WNBA Twitter decided this was an attack. I'm talking threads about protecting Black women's hair, about toxic fan behavior, about body autonomy in sports. And listen, I respect those conversations when they're coming from a genuine place. But this was a joke about a wig flying off mid-game, not some targeted campaign of harassment. Still, the discourse machine kicked into high gear, and suddenly that poor fan who made the uncrowned joke. He was public enemy number 1. His face was all over social media, people trying to find his name, his job, his family, like, over a wig pun. And you know what the WNBA did? They didn't defend him. They didn't clarify what actually happened. They didn't even say whether his ejection was a one-night thing or a lifetime ban. They just went silent, which is the worst thing you can do when the internet decides to play detective. So now, the fan community is split. Half of them are like, good, keep the negativity out of the arena. The other half is saying, if this is the new standard, what happens when somebody boos a missed shot? Do they get tossed too? And I'm not gonna lie, that's a fair question. Meanwhile, the memes aren't slowing down. People are making parody highlight reels of the wig moment with commentary like it's a championship play. One guy even put the Titanic theme over it and made slow-motion replays from every angle. And the funniest part? Even people who don't watch the WNBA are now talking about it. I saw NFL fans, K-pop stans, and random movie review accounts posting about the great wig escape of 2025. This is literally the kind of viral crossover attention the league has been begging for. And instead of leaning in, they're pretending it never happened. But here's where it goes from silly to serious. Because the fans' ejection starts raising questions about inconsistent enforcement in the WNBA. Just a few weeks ago, we saw Caitlin Clark take a hit to the head that looked like something out of an MMA fight, and the league barely flinched. No fines, no suspensions, just a play-on mentality. But a harmless wig joke? Zero tolerance. Immediate expulsion. You can't tell me that doesn't send a message, and not the one they think it does. It says, we'll ignore real fouls if it keeps rivalries alive.
The arena didn't have to be thrown out. This reminds me of something Brittany Griner said the other day. She was dogging out fans again. Why? Because they're probably making fun of you getting locked up in Russia? Question mark? Of course they're going to heckle you over that. I mean, maybe you should have thought about that before you took cannabis oil into Russia. I guarantee you that's what that's about. Just my speculation, but no, it's the fans' fault. This league is wild. Hair Jordan.
But if you embarrass a player in a way that goes viral, we'll act like you committed a federal crime. And trust me, players notice this too. I've talked to enough athletes to know they keep mental notes on how the league treats certain situations. If the priority is optics over fairness, that's when you start getting resentment, not just from fans, but from inside the locker room. Anyway, I leave the arena thinking maybe, just maybe, this will all die down in a day or two. But by the next morning, it's worse. ESPN is running the clip. TMZ has it on their homepage. Even Good Morning America slips in a mention between weather updates. And this is where it hits me. The WNBA just stumbled into the kind of mainstream attention they dream about. And they're squandering it because they're afraid to look unserious. But newsflash, the NBA's had streakers, shoe malfunctions, LeBron's headband moments, and they still use those clips to promote the league. You can be professional and still have fun with your sport. But instead, the league's official social media? Still silent. Not even a neutral, wild moment in last night's game post. Just business as usual. And the more they ignore it, the more people are determined to keep talking about it. And then, Kalia breaks her silence. It's not an interview. It's not a press conference. It's an Instagram story. Just a black screen with white text that says, that's it. That's the statement. No joke, no wink, no acknowledgement that half the country just watched her hairpiece become the breakout star of the night. Just a short, sharp dismissal that somehow made the whole situation feel 10 times more tense. And now, instead of diffusing the moment, it's like gasoline on the fire.
NBA, we have a story involving synthetic hair. I didn't know the Wicked Weave Joy Reid applied to be a WNBA player. I knew she was looking for work. I knew she was desperately searching for gainful employment, along with a reliable form of transportation. When MSNBC fired the artist formerly known as Weave back in February, they also confiscated her broom.
People start reading into it. She's mad at the fans, she's mad at the league, she's embarrassed and lashing out. Every sports podcast, gossip channel, and Twitter thread is dissecting 8 words like they're the Zapruder film. This thing has officially crossed from funny sports moment into full-blown controversy. And the next part of the story? Oh, it's gonna make the league wish they'd just laughed it off on day one. By the time Kalia's Instagram story makes its rounds, we're in uncharted territory. This isn't just a viral moment anymore, it's a PR minefield. And the thing about PR minefields is, if you don't have a plan, you're gonna step on every single one. The WNBA could have handled this in so many ways.
Not gonna touch this Kalia Copper situation. Yeah, the girl wig fell off in the middle of the game. I'm not here to roast her wig. I'm really not. You know what I'm saying? I'm more so here to talk about the situation in which a fan was thrown out for laughing. That is crazy. I'd be damned if I paid for tickets to a game and something happens and I laugh and y'all throw me out of the game. That's crazy. That is flat out crazy, man. So let's take a look, and again, this is not about that is kind of crazy though. Listen, y'all gotta figure this out, bro. What is going on with see, you gotta be careful.
They could have posted a lighthearted clip with the caption "wigging out in Chicago" or "when your defense is on point but your hairline isn't." They could have brought Kalia on a podcast to laugh it off and talk about mental toughness in sports. They could have owned the moment. Instead, silence, and tension. Now, silence can sometimes be smart if you're letting a scandal fade. But this wasn't a scandal until they made it one. And while the league was trying to keep their heads down, everyone else was filling in the blanks. Sports radio hosts are having a field day. Half of them are roasting the overreaction, half are playing moral police, and all of them are making sure the story doesn't die. Even people who barely know what the WNBA is are weighing in. This is the kind of publicity the league has never had before, and instead of being in control of it, they're a bystander. Then comes the real kicker. Reports start leaking that the ejected fan wasn't given a refund and might be facing a season-long ban. That right there is the spark that turns internet snickering into genuine outrage. Fans start posting their own experiences with being warned or escorted out for harmless heckles. Clips start resurfacing of much worse behavior in NBA games where fans weren't even touched by security. It's becoming a pattern, one that says, in the WNBA, we'll let hard fouls slide, but if you mess with a player's public image, you're out. And whether or not that's true, it's the perception now. And in sports, perception is reality. The funniest and also saddest part? Other leagues start making sly comments about it. An MLS team tweets, "At least our fans keep their hats on." A minor league baseball account posts, "Come for the game, stay for the wigs." The WNBA is being clowned by soccer memes. That's when you know it's spiraling. Meanwhile, players are getting pulled into it whether they like it or not. During a completely unrelated press conference, a reporter asks another player, "What's your take on the wig incident?" And the poor woman looks like she just got asked to explain tax law on live TV. She clearly doesn't want to touch it, but she also doesn't want to say nothing. So she gives this awkward, half-smiling answer about respecting the game that only fuels more headlines. At this point, I'm thinking the league has to address it. And finally, after almost a week, they do, sort of. That's it. No acknowledgement of the wig, no explanation of what exactly was said, no transparency on whether the fan is banned or just warned. Just a bland corporate non-answer that somehow makes it sound even more shady. And that's when the real fallout starts. Fan pages, the kind that usually post highlight reels and schedule updates, start openly criticizing the league. Season ticket holders are asking for clarity on what counts as crossing the line. Even some former players are tweeting about how back in their day, you had to have thicker skin because heckling was part of the game. And let's be real, heckling is part of sports. It's been there since the beginning. There's a difference between harassment and banter, and most fans know that line instinctively. But if the WNBA keeps blurring that line in favor of optics, they're going to create an environment where fans are afraid to engage at all. The ripple effect is already showing. Attendance dips slightly for the next couple of home games. Not enough to cause panic, but enough to notice. And when I talk to people who usually go to every match, a few of them admit they just don't feel like dealing with the walking on eggshells vibe. That's dangerous, because once you lose a fan's routine, it's hard to get it back. But here's the twist nobody saw coming. The wig itself becomes a kind of underground mascot. Fans start showing up to games wearing over-the-top wigs in solidarity with the ejected guy. At first, it's just one or two people. Then it's whole rows. Then it's a theme night in disguise. And the league still says nothing. They could be selling branded wigs right now. They could be making a charity night out of it. Instead, they're ignoring the one viral moment that has actually drawn non-WNBA watchers into the conversation. It's marketing malpractice. And this is where it hits me. The WNBA wants the benefits of going viral without the risks. They want Caitlin Clark's highlights trending, but not the drama that makes sports unpredictable. They want the attention without the chaos. But here's the truth, you can't separate the two. The NBA learned that decades ago. The NFL thrives on it. Even women's soccer knows how to spin awkward moments into marketing gold. The wig incident is going to fade eventually, sure, but the way they handled it? That's going to stick around in fans' minds for a lot longer. Because whether you thought it was hilarious or disrespectful, one thing's for sure. The league looked completely out of touch in how they responded. And if they can't learn from that, the next viral moment won't just embarrass them, it'll cost them. Because in sports, you can't control every storyline, but you can control how you react to it. And right now, the WNBA's reactions are the real joke.